Let's talk about leftovers. I've made up this scrapbook workshop kit. I've got 6 pages and I have a whole lot of embellishments left over and quite a bit of paper. There's more paper because I've already cut it up for 2 extra layouts. It's just like when you've got leftovers from your dinner. Sometimes the leftovers are tastier than the original course. So these are the originals. I'll link to a video at the end that talks you through those ones. And I have planned out 2 layouts with what I've got left over. Today I'm going to share what I'm doing with this little lot. I have added in 2 sheets of white willow cardstock to the leftover bits, and I'll come back later in September and build the second lot of leftovers for the pages. Alrighty, so let's have a look at what I've made, or what I've cut. I have cut 2 large pieces of printed paper. So one side slightly wider than the other side. And for this one, I'm having the wider panel on the right-hand page. I managed to get this full sheet because I didn't do that triangular page here. I didn't do that. I did a second one like this. So I've got this full sheet left over. And you could totally use the brown pin, I think it's pecan pie print, if that suited your photos. But I don't really have like full-on travel hiking photos, so I'm just going with the blue side. And then I was able to use this leftover paper to make some photo mounts. And whenever I'm making photo mounts for a 6x4 photo, I always take out the middle of it. I leave a 1/2 inch border, and then that gives me leftover pieces that I can crib to cut smaller shapes. There's 2 more tiny little squares somewhere in here as well that I cut out of that one, and I was also able to get these 2 little bits out of the leftovers. So that's my photo mounts all covered. These are stickers. I've just cut them off the sheet. They were used, well, supposed to be used on one of the other layouts, but I didn't, I didn't really like it where it was, so I didn't put it down. And they'll work better, I think, for over here. And then I pulled in some of the old olive cardstock. I can't remember if that was purely from leftovers or I ducked into, my scraps folder and used that one. I'm not really 100%. And then these little pieces here are made with one of the new punches. This one, which is called something. I am terrible at remembering stuff like this. So it's in the September online exclusives, and it's this one here. It's called the Sign Design Punch. I am rapidly falling in love with Stampin' Up punches because of their versatility. So I'm going to show you how I turned my piece of paper from this to this using that punch. The first thing you want to do is work out what's the size of the width of the piece of paper that comes out of there. So you just want to punch the shape in any paper that you like. I'm going to be using this old olive one, so I punched it with old olive. And then you want to measure it. And when I look at it, it's just under 2 1/4 inches. Okay, so I'm going to go to 2 1/4. And then I'm going to bring it in, I think that would be 1/16 of an inch. And I will check that it actually does fit in by sliding it, sliding it this way and pulling it up. Yes, you see how that comes through? Now by doing that, I can punch and it'll only punch the curve. It won't punch the rest. and I can just bring it down to where I want it. I'm going to use the sides of the punch to make sure that my paper is in nice and straight. Then I'm going to hold the whole thing and punch. Okay, and that's one end. Now you decide, you can make this as long as you want. So if I wanted to layer it like this, for instance, okay, I could do that, but I probably would want to, you know, maybe do it like that, because otherwise I'd just use blue short ones. So if I wanted to get some effect where there was a more of the blue showing, I could do it like that. So let's go with it and see. So once you've done the one side, you thread that back through the opposite way. Make sure that you're on the same color side. Again, check that it's level with those edges and punch. And there you have it, that you could layer those up to suit any size title that you wanted to put onto your page. How fun. You can do that with all of the shapes, you know, the solid shapes punches. And as I said, it's one of my favorite ways to use them. Okay, if you just wanted to have like skinny little pieces, you could cut one and slide it down and cut another one, and look at that. If you weren't filming, you'd probably take your time and line it all up. I'd have to just cut that off a little whisker, but you see how that works? So you can totally have loads of fun with this. This could be a journaling space as well. Alrighty, now I'm set to make my title. I'm going to use this one from the Weekend Adventures stamp set. Adventure starts here. I think that's kind of fun. And I want to do it in two different colours. The dark green and then the Cajun craze that's used on the sticker. I don't have the Stampin' Up colours, but I've got close enough, close to my heart colours that will do. Because the T comes down here, I can't just do, you know, ink the adventure and then ink that in one go. So I am going to use some masking paper. So I don't need to ink this thoroughly. If you haven't used masking paper before, it's a great tool to have. It comes in a pack with multiple sheets in it, and you stamp on the dull side. The back side is an adhesive that you can take off, and you simply cut around just roughly for this. It doesn't have to be perfect. The only place I have to be worried is where that T comes down. So if I come in here and I very carefully go around there, okay, then when I turn it over, I can lift off the backing paper. Okay, and I'll just pop that there to be ready. Now, before I stamp that, I decided that this was a bit flat, and because there's spatters on the blue paper in the pack, I thought I would bring in some Misty Moonlight spattering. So I auditioned the Stampin' Blends and the Stampin' Write marker. The blends give you a lot darker colour and bigger splatters, and the marker gives you just a very fine mist, and so I think that's what I'm going to go for. Now, if you like these markers, they are being discontinued, and so if there are some colours that you don't yet own, head over to the Last Chance section of the website and pop some into your cart. So you see I'm just flicking it against the lid, and I want to have a little bit more out here near the sides. And that has provided just a little bit of texture around the outside there. Now, because I'm going to mask off the adventure piece, I want to stamp that first. No, I tell a lie. I want to put the mask down. Oops. And that will be stamped second. Okay, so now all I want to, mostly concentrate on is inking up that starts here. And it's only caught a little baby bit on the other word, but just, I just didn't want that to show up. So now I stamp down with that. And when I peel this off, there's no orange going to show there. Then I can take this piece and cover up the starts here. Whoopsie. And because I've cut where that T needs to come down, that will make it easy to line up. So if we position starts here over the word, and I've got the little gap for the T, all should be well with the world. Ta-da! Now, if you feel, I feel like this, if I use this again, I would probably like to mask it again. You can actually keep this masking paper. Just pull in the backing sheet that you took it off and pop it back on that, and then store it with the stamp set, and you'll be able to use it a few times more. Okay. Alrighty, so that's good. Happy with that. Now I feel like it needs just a little bit more on it, and so I'm going to bring in. I've got a little Stampin' Spot of Misty Moonlight that I can use, and just come in, I think, and do a little bit of blending off the edge as we go around. Now this piece is the one that these bits are going to come behind, and so I feel like I want to do that blue blending on these as well, just to soften the edges. And around we go. Yep. All right, I will assemble this and then I'll show you how the layout's looking. All right, now the photos I am using on this page are of my husband's visit to a dairy farm. He's part of a photo club, and there's a town in WA called Pemberton that we went down to for a weekend, and this was one of the excursions that we took. He loved it because you could get up close and personal with the cows, and it was a beautiful herd. So this is how it's going to look for me. I've done my journaling. I have these pre-drawn journal boxes that I rediscovered in my stash, and they're in all different colors. So yay for not having to draw lines. So this is kind of the basic feel. I realized that for this space, I had originally thought I would have 2 horizontal photos here, but this is such a classic photo. My husband is always on the ground taking photos, so I will reprint this as a 5x7. If you were doing this for something else, this could be your favorite view, it could be a group shot, something like that. Now when I'm looking at this, I've chosen to use the green sides, but I feel like these 2 photos are disappearing a little bit, so I'm wondering if I flipped them over and had the lighter side showing. Yes, you see how that really helps the bits come out of the photo. So I think I will do that. Fortunately, I usually put the adhesive away from the edges, so that works in my favor here. And then because I have introduced a little bit of that acorn paper on this side, I need to find somewhere to put it on the other side as well. It just helps the layout to look a little bit more balanced. Oops. This was the lovely farmer that just spent such a long time with everyone and was happy to answer all their questions. He was really nice. These little 2-inch photos, well, and the other ones too, I have a Canon selfie printer, and they have an app called the Selfie app, and you can make collages that fit onto a 6x4. And so putting one of those on and 2 of the 2-inch ones, I was able to get a 4-inch square that I then trimmed down, and 2 2-inch ones there. Alrighty, so now, as I said, I want to bring some of this colour over, and I found that I just have a little offcut of that green, which has the white on the back. And so let's just cut it in half and just tuck that under there. And I'll do the same up here, and that is enough to incorporate it in. Alrighty. Okay, so now I have some of these bits that I haven't used yet. So a couple of stickers and a few die cuts. I found the heart die cut, the push out, so I'll use this one, which is the same colour, and I'm going to pop that over here. And then all these photographers did have an exciting day, so I'll pop that one there for exciting day. My husband, you know, give him a camera and he's always having fun. So let's pop that over with him. I'll just glue this down. So these photo mats here, I cut at 6x4 to be able to get them out of the scrap of paper. And that means I needed to trim my photo down to fit in. Oh, where am I going to put that? Doesn't fit as nicely as I thought. Oh, if I do that, maybe. Having fun. Okay, I'll stick this one down, and I want to make this a bit more of a cluster. Oopsie. And as I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I really feel like, because this was fun, you know, like, look at this herd of cows just looking at the camera, like That is so fun. So I decided to have a little look through my collection of stamps to see if I had any cow stamps. Now this is one reason that as a scrapbooker I never get rid of any of my stamps, because look what I found. 2 adorable cows, and you'll notice that these ones have patches just like the stamp set. So I'm very happy to have that one, and I had a good time colouring in. There was this one brown cow, so I wanted to give her a little shout out, and then the rest are black and white. This one's only half coloured in because I thought she could come in from the side here. She might need a little bit of extra black, and I just used my black Stampin' Up marker for this because it doesn't show up. I don't usually use them for colouring in because they look a bit more like texture colouring, and you see you know, you see the lines, but with the black you didn't see so much of that. So I might tuck that one under there, and I'll have her level with the edge of the page, I think, or maybe, oh yeah, I'll bring her down there. So maybe I do need to colour all of her. I shouldn't have been lazy. Tuck her down there. That's it, and I'll just take a little baby bit off her. Then I thought it could be fun to have the brown cow with the little cow that's got mostly black together here. So I'll put this one down flat, and then I'll pop up the other one. Now I made a mistake when I was stamping on these. Sorry, I need to move her over a little bit. I was using just some photo placeholders, and it's not as thick as cardstock, so the colouring in didn't behave as nicely as it normally would, because the paper isn't as strong as cardstock, you know, as thick, so it ran a little bit more, because the brown and the faces on these cows I coloured with the Stampin' Blends. I did the pecan pie for her, and I did light petal pink and the S1000 for their faces. So, you know, don't be a cheapskate. Use your cardstock. I think it was just that I had some of those on the table in front of me and I couldn't be bothered getting up to get my cardstock. Oh, how gorgeous does she look. Such a cute little cow. And then, oh, this is how I can incorporate this. I'll have one over here. Just need to lift that up a little bit. Yep. And then got two more, so I think I probably want to have one. Oh, I can have her up here. And maybe she can be there. Happy with that. And then let's have a look at these, if I need any more of these. I could just put love on there. I don't know. No, oh, I feel like this needs something more. I'll have to have a think about that while I glue down the other cows. So, you know, this kit, I like when I'm using the kits, I try not to make the pages too long to put together, because a lot of the times those of us that are using the kits are time poor, or a lot of my ladies that use the kits don't feel very confidently creative, or they don't have a lot of supplies for doing decorative elements on their pages. So these ones are more of your fun level than the true fancier level of pages. Oh, and you know what? Once they're all down, oh, this is a flip flap. This is the actual milking machine, and they demonstrated artificial insemination as well. So I think I'm happy with that one. I have to that's what I could do. I could ground that. And here we are, we're finished. Okay, so I grabbed some low profile sparkle dots. They have like I don't know if that's Secret Sea or more teal, and a green and a yellow, and I used the green ones, and I put 3 little sets of 3 in there. I bought in the Stampin' Up pen again and spattered here, and also this stamp set, Love This Place, is from this collection. So that kind of helped to fill that little spot. Did a bit more spattering over here. And then the cows stamp set had some little grass elements. And so just popping those near the cow's feet helped to ground the cows. So I'm calling that done. I hope you like this one. And yeah, have fun with it, because really it's the decoration, the extra stamping decorations that you add into this one that'll really make it pop. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll be back later in the month with another layout from scraps. Bye for now.